Hey friends, I'm setting up live here, so bear with me. Waiting for a few people to come on. So if you're here, wave, say hello, make a comment. I'm not going to be on camera today, except for down here on the stove. So, okay. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to see your comments. Doesn't look like it. If you guys let me know that you're here, then I can get started. Hope your week has been good. And that you are going to have a great, restful Labor Day weekend. I'm just waiting for, like I said, waiting for people to come on. I'm having a little technical issue too, so hang on just a second. There we go. Okay. So I'm ready to get started. So hopefully you guys have gotten all your ingredients together. You should have all-purpose flour, some salt, all-purpose flour, some salt, cream of tartar, water, liquid oil. I said olive oil. I don't happen to have olive oil, so I'm going to be using my fractionated coconut oil today. Okay. And then food coloring. I happen to like this gel food coloring. It has a really good color to it, saturation, and essential oils of your choice. And we will go over the essential oils in a little bit after we make the Play-Doh. Okay. So let's get started. So the first thing you want is your flour. You want 1 cup of flour. Okay, and I've already pre-measured it, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in the pot. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is put your salt, this is a 1/2 cup of salt. So get your salt in there. And I like to kind of stir as I go. So I'm going to use my whisk. It's easier for me with dry ingredients. Okay. And then I've already pre-measured my cream of tartar here. So this is 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar. Get that all in there. Okay. So mix that all up really well in the pot, in your saucepan. Okay. And then I'm going to put the whisk aside for a minute. While I do, I'm going to put the oil in first. Seems to work better for me. So I'm going to use this one, the droppers. So for me it takes 6 droppers full, but you're going to want 1.5 tablespoons of whatever oil you choose. Make sure it's edible, especially if you're using this for little kids. That's why I suggested the olive oil, but this particular fractionated coconut oil is edible. So not all of them are, but this one is. So that's 1. And trust me, I tested this earlier just to make sure it works, and it does. It's really good consistency Play-Doh. So, and there's 1/2. Okay. So then what you'll want to do is prepare your water. So you have 1 cup of water. And then you'll want to prepare your water with the food coloring. So I chose purple, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. So you want to do equal parts of blue and red. So, and I've already done that just because it kind of is tricky. And I wanted to get it just right. It looks black. Look at that. It looks black, but it's actually purple. So I'm going to set those aside and go ahead and make sure that's all mixed together. Might add another drop of red because it's looking really dark. There we go. Okay, and then again, I'm going to take the whisk. And you just stir it together so that there's no lumps. This is surprisingly quick project. I think it takes longer to get the ingredients together than it actually does to make. So, okay. So it's kind of a lavender color now, if you can see that. Okay, and then so there's no heat on the stove yet. Okay, so once that is nice and creamy, I'm gonna move this to the sink. Be right back. Okay, and then you're gonna want, so we're not doing essential oils yet, because you know that when essential oils get too hot, they can lose their properties. So you turn on the burner to medium-low, okay, and then you just want to stir it continuously until it starts looking like Play-Dough. Kind of a salt, it's just a salt dough. If you've ever made salt dough biscuits or salt bread, it can take a little bit for it to heat up, but you just keep stirring it because it'll go real fast once it does. Anybody here ever made Play-Doh before? I wonder. This is probably the easiest recipe I've ever used. And it lasts, as long as you keep it in an airtight container. So this is a batch that's still cooling that I made earlier today. So it smells really good. And then, so this is the container that I'm going to use for our new batch. So like anything like that. So the thing I like about Play-Doh, guys, is that it's not just for kids. So adults, I think when we get older, we lose our playfulness. I think it's conditioned out of us that, you know, we're just because we're older, we shouldn't play anymore. We should be more serious. I don't think that's true. I think that we need our playfulness and we need our creativity to just get through, you know, through the stressful times in life, right? I think we have a lot easier time of it if we just let ourselves play more often. So, okay, it's heating up a little bit. It's not going to bubble, but you'll notice on the bottom it's going to start sticking a little bit. And that's when you know that you're starting to get a good consistency. It's thickening up real good now. Really well, sorry. I'm going to turn this heat up just a little bit because my stove is a little persnickety. So just make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom or burn. So we're just going to keep stirring. Hey, I know what? I remember that I was going to do a drawing for those of you who are watching. Leave a comment during the live. We still have another few minutes. You can leave a comment or a question. Okay. And then I will do a drawing for a free On Guard sanitizing mist. So, you see how it's kind of clumping now? See that? It's getting there. So you can see it's sticking to the bottom of the pan now. Starting to become doughy. That's exactly what we want. Okay. Purple goodness. Some more. Just, yeah, make sure to get that off the bottom of the pan because that's where it tends to harden up the fastest. I used a different pan earlier. It had a wider base. So you might want to try that if you want to do this more quickly. I mean, this is doing just fine, but if you want to do it really fast, that's what I would suggest, having more contact area. Surface contact. Yeah. Okay. It's still going. Turn it down a little bit. And you see it's looking like a ball of dough now. We're almost done. It's gonna start getting really stiff and hard to stir. But you want to get that last little bit of moisture out of there. Okay, when you can kind of make it into a ball like that, it's time to take it off the heat. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn that off. I'm gonna just scrape it out. Okay, and then I'm gonna stick that into our bowl. Scrape all the leftovers out of the bottom if I can get it out. Okay, we're gonna let that cool a little bit. Stick that in the sink. Okay, it's pretty hot. I'm gonna go ahead and knead it just a little bit, just to get it to stick together. And then we're going to set it aside for a few minutes and let it cool off before we put our essential oils in it. Okay. Ooh, that's very warm. Okay. So we're going to put that aside. Okay. Let me get a drink real quick. Okay, let's talk essential oils a little bit while this is cooling. So, first of all, if you're giving this to a kiddo, you're going to want to use a single oil or a blend of oils that are suitable for supplementation, suitable for taking internally. So, like this lavender, it has supplement facts on the label, so that means that it's okay to take it internally. I like to use Serenity. It has some of the same calming effects that lavender does. The problem is it has oils that we aren't supposed to take internally. So if you're making it for an adult or an older child who's not going to put it in their mouth, then the Serenity would be just fine. But if you're doing for a little person who's, younger and still eating Play-Doh, then you're going to want to use lavender, which is why I made this purple. Or you could use wild orange or even On Guard, because that you can also take internally. But the Serenity, Balance, and Citrus Bliss, which also have really great benefits, the calming and the grounding and the uplifting, the invigorating, which these also have. These are not to be taken internally. So let's check this. It's cooled way down. It's only been a minute, but we can still do that. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'll put it right here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So you'll want, 5 or 6 drops. It just depends. So I'm gonna do a couple drops, and then I'm gonna knead it a little bit. It's under the fingernails, so knead that up. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, and then put some more in there. 3 more drops. There you go. This bottle's almost done. So, okay, we're almost there, guys. So see the consistency of that? Once it cools, it'll be a little bit harder. I'd love to see pictures of you guys if you're making Play-Doh, even if it's not during the live. I would love to see that. Whew, it's still really warm. Okay, but you see, it looks just like the commercial stuff. And it does taste like it. I did taste test it the other batch before I put the oil in. So, okay, and then you want to let that cool for a little bit while longer. I'm not going to let it cool just yet, but I'm going to stick it in your airtight container. I would probably suggest something a little smaller, but this is what I have right now. And then put it in your refrigerator, and it will last a really long time until it dries out. It's good until it dries out, or God forbid it turns fuzzy, but that can happen sometimes. So yeah, but I would suggest letting it cool completely before putting the lid all the way on. So does anybody have any questions? No, honey, it's okay that you want to eat this. As long as it's oil that you can take internally, you can totally eat it if you want to. It's fine. You know what's also really fun is this Play-Doh, it can air dry, and you can have your kiddos, or you can make Christmas ornaments. Yes, it does. You're so funny. I was answering your question as you were asking it. So, you know I love you. You guys have any other questions for me? If not, I thank you so much for joining me today. And yes, on questions? Thanks for joining me today. I thank you for, hanging in there with me as I bumble through my live DIYs. They're so much fun. And I love these times with you guys. So next month is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to convention in the middle of the month. So there will be 1 week where the live is going to look a little bit different. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do yet. So just to see what's going on I'll probably at convention I'll be doing a live. So but next week will be hopefully the unboxing for my September order, which is always a lot of fun. I have a lot of really interesting things coming this week. And then we'll go from there. So I don't think I'm going to be running any live classes this week or this month because of convention. So anyway, thanks guys for watching, and go back and watch it again. Make lots of Play-Doh. Eat it if you want. Play with a kid. Play as a kid. And I will see you soon. Bye guys.